Often these days, I find my mind slipping back in time. I'm a child once again, and once again, I'm in my home with good old Achanbi. She was my nanny, just a help, hired to look after me and the chores in between. Yet Achanbi was a special woman. While some women are compelled to walk through life with bags of burden passed down through the years, Achanbi was seemingly untouched by them. Achanbi, who arrived every morning, all wrapped up in a burqa, was far removed from any preconception of a meek individual. Her parda allowed her to exercise control from behind closed doors, without confrontation. It was comical to wake up to an argument between her and the milk vendor. She inside the house, and him outside the door, trying to convince her of the quality of the milk. Her efficiency reflected in the way she ran our house with clockwork precision. Achanbi wore a burqa all her life, and still I have no doubt that she was the one who really wore the trousers in her own house. But do all burqa-clad women turn out like Achanbi? I really don't know. What is an Indian Muslim woman like? Like Achanbi? Like me? Or like what? Who defines her way of living? Does Islam specify in some text or the other that women are to stay away from all public space, even a mosque? How is it then that women in other parts of the world have found solace in their places of worship? What stops us from doing the same?
It is a stereotype opinion that women are just for wearing a parda and sitting at home, and they do not know anything about the world. Yes, the world will know the truth that the Muslim women are not sitting in a corner. Instead, they are coming out in support of their sisters.
A committee must be formed amongst the Muslim women. They must develop courage and self-confidence. An awakening must happen amongst them. They are not just for dressing up well or wearing good clothes and jewels, but they must go beyond this. They must be able to follow a path shown by Islam. For this, women's Jamaat and a women's mosque is a must.
The mosque is not just a place to pray. A group of people get together who discuss issues pertaining to the community and take decisions. But women are not allowed to participate.
These voices fill the air in Pudukkottai. Its women were conditioned to remain powerless, meek individuals. But now, the first rays of insight have just stirred this hamlet. Sharifa and her friends have started speaking up, questioning, challenging the norms that threaten their rights. The decision to build a mosque and an all-women's Jamaat has brought them social security. It is their answer, their call.
Every week, I get 2 petitions from women from different zillas in Tamil Nadu regarding wrong judgments given by the Jamaat. These days, women are given talaq very casually through the post, telephone, internet or Jamaat. So what happens is, without the women's having a say, a decision regarding a life is taken.
Talaq, Achanbi said, is the most deplorable to Allah. Yet men seem to have found it to be the only and the easiest way out. And what of the women? What is expected of them? How many generations of women are supposed to get sacrificed at this altar? The new generation in Pudukkottai has chosen to look at the silver lining, to find strength within.
After talaq, self-confidence is what I have gained. I can live and face society boldly. My mother is not like me. I have fought and come this far. But my mother has got through a lot of hardships. Since she was not educated, my father has cheated her in many ways. She has tolerated so much just because she had to bring us children up. I am educated and educated to lead my life alone. I can work and earn a living and take care of my child.
For Rashida, her struggle has been made easy. Education has taken her far. But what of the others?
Economic independence will be the first step for women to open up to society. If we give opportunities to women to become economically independent, then they will become more confident. Through the mosque, we can create opportunities for their economic upliftment, empowerment, education, can rehabilitate all those women who are alone. Thus, it will be a decision-making body at the community level and not just a place to say prayers.
I'm very happy. ये बता रही है हमारे पास लोन लेने के बाद एक दिन में 200 रुपए तक व्यापार होता है. मतलब यही बात पर मुझे आप पूछा ना आप मुझे क्या मिलता बस यही बात मिलता. நான் வந்து டிஃபரண்டா என்ன வளரல சின்ன வயசுல இருந்தே எனக்கு வந்து
I have been brought up no differently, but I have always been stubborn. When I was a little girl, I had this urge to make a necklace out of hot charcoal pieces and wear it around my neck.
நெருப்பு இருக்கும் உடனே எனக்கு வந்து என்ன கையும் மனசும் அப்படியே துடிக்கும் அந்த நெருப்பை தூக்கி அப்படியே அது சக் 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 சக்னு அப்படியே வேற ஒல்லியமா இது அப்படியே எடுத்து கழுத்துல நெக்லஸா போட்டுக்கணும்.
Now when I see myself doing this work, I realize that my work is like wearing a necklace of hot charcoal. Now I'm sure I want to wear that necklace.
நெருப்புல போடு கழுத்துல போடுவேங்கற நம்பிக்கை எனக்கு.
Strange are the ways of life. Lucknow is the city where most of my forefathers lived. Yet I have never been here. I wonder if it really is homecoming for me then? helplessness will not do. That is the message in their song. As Sharifa very rightly pointed out, economic independence is the first step. Seva women have already crossed that milestone. It's not been easy though.
शुरू में अपोजिशन जरूर था में, वो ये समझ रही थी उनके हाथ से उनके घर की औरतें निकलती चली आई और किस मुश्किल से इन्होंने वो जर्नी उनके लिए भी बहुत बड़ी स्टेप थी कि धीरे 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 अपने घर से निकल के जो यहाँ तक आए, घर से और सेवा तक की दूरी जो इन्होंने तय की, वो भी बहुत ही बड़ी कमाल का काम था।
मेरे ख्याल में एक और ज़रूरी चीज़ है कि उनके ट्रेडिशनल वैल्यूज़ और नॉर्म्स को किसी ने चैलेंज नहीं किया. It's not just pulling them out of somewhere and thrusting them somewhere, but gradually into an environment which is an accepting one and which understands what they are, how they are, and lets them go at their pace.
हमने यहाँ पे काम सीखा, पढ़ाई लिखाई सीखी और सबसे ज़्यादा तो हौसला सीखा, हिम्मत सीखी, प्यार मिला। घर से ज़्यादा हमको यहाँ प्यार मिला।
जो औरतें भूखी रहती थी वो औरतें अब अपने बच्चों की पढ़ा रही हैं। एक औरत तो अपनी लड़की को डॉक्टरी पढ़ा रही है।
The way they have changed and they have created a position within the society for themselves. Become so confident in life and leave aside their work. They can take any decisions in their life and they give advice to others too.
एक कारीगर हमारी सिलाई में ही थी, उसको रोज मियाँ उसको मारते थे। एक दिन उसको सब लोग ने मिलकर कहा, आज जब तुम्हारे मियाँ मारे तो तुम अपने मियाँ का हाथ पकड़ लेना। उसने वही किया। उसकी मियाँ ने उसको मारा, उसने हाथ पकड़ लेगा, अब तुम दो मारोगे, हम तुम्हें एक तो मार ही लेंगे। उस दिन से उसकी मियाँ ने मारना छोड़ दिया।
Give them the feeling that they are not alone, that we are with them, and that the group is with each other, so that the individual was strengthened by the group, by that larger association. So that was, I think, very important. The feeling of togetherness, the we together, not just I.
दीदी ने हम लोग के संग में माँ का ही फर्ज अदा किया है। मेरे पैरों में बहुत तकलीफ बहुत थी, तो फिर दीदी ने हमको डॉक्टर के यहाँ भी दिखाया। बहुत पैरों में मेरे जख्म बहुत थे, इतने जख्म थे कि डॉक्टर देखने को तैयार नहीं होते थे। तो दीदी ने यहाँ मिनी गोयल डॉक्टर हैं, उनसे मिली। बहुत उनकी खुशामद की, इतनी खुशामद की कि सुबह से शाम हो गई बैठे बैठे वहीं पर। तब उन्होंने हमको देखा तो कह रहे हम नहीं ऐसे मरीज़ देखते हैं। फिर इनकार कर दी। फिर उन्हें दीदी ने कहा नहीं, आपको ये मरीज़ देखना ही पड़ेगा। कहने कौन हो तुम इसकी? कहने कोई नहीं है, ऐसी एक बस जो इंसान में इंसानियत होती वही है।
Saira's abilities overshadow her disability. After joining Seva, she has taken to life with the spirit of sportsmanship. Neither losing nor winning, just being part of the game. When you begin to live by your own rules, as my Achanbi did, you make no compromises, and that is when the baggage of burden seems to melt away, and life lifts you up in its arms, and this feeling alone has the power to embolden you.
हमने घर वालों से कहा कि एक तो कभी ख्वाब में भी इंसान नहीं सोच सकता कि इंग्लैंड या लंदन जाएगा, और हमको ये चांस मिला तो हमेशा जाना चाहिए। फिर हम 2 हफ्ते के लिए हम गए, अकेले गए म्यूज़ियम में, वहाँ काम करके उनको दिखाया। उन लोगों को एक तो ये यकीन नहीं होता है कि ये काम हाथ का होता है, तो वहाँ हम लोगों ने उनको ये छाप के भी दिखाया और काट के भी दिखाया, तो लोग बहुत खुश हुए। वो हमें घुमाने भी, वहाँ के अंग्रेज लोग को घुमाने भी ले गए, को घुमाया फिर।
The tapestry in Seva is an ever-changing one. A metamorphosis which will always be as vivid, as vibrant, and as perennial as its women. It's a pity that I have to move on, but I take with me their faces, their eyes, their depth, especially their laughter.
सगन बने फूल रही सरसों, सगन बने फूल रही सरसों, सगन बने फूल रही सरसों.
Hindustani Awaz is actually, as the name says, it's about Hindustani, which is both Hindi and Urdu, and there's an overlap of the two languages, which has been called Hindustani forever. And it's by calling it Hindustani Awaz, I am actually laying emphasis on the oral tradition of our Sanji Virasat.
माटी की तुम दीवारें, माटी के तुम दीवारें, जो सुनो हमारी बात.
Behind us, you know, at our back, there has been this flowing of two streams, you know, of cultures, of religions, of ways of life, and I think we are products of that.
If in Lucknow the Seva women are building a future, in Delhi Rakshanda is reconstructing the past. Did she leave her high-profile job in a publishing house just to do this?
I think I'm someone who values the past for what it is. Living in Delhi, which is, I mean, we are blessed because we have history dotted all around us, yet we are largely unaware of it. And I chose the name Invisible City because we've made history invisible for ourselves, at least those bits of history, those dribs and drabs of history. I feel that till we value our history, we have very little to look forward to.
But the decision to leave her job, was it really required?
I have always felt that you need to shut a door for other doors to open. It's not that I was leaving one job for another better paying, higher designation thing. I was not doing that. I was just leaving one job to become a multitasker. I knew I wanted to do other things. Choice makes you mainstream. Today, if I want, I can give it all up and put my children in boarding school and go and live in a dehat. It is a choice. If I want, I can live in the city and I can find work to sustain myself. I think I'd like to do the same for my children. I would, whether they want it or not, one thing that I'd insist on would be a good education. There are no shortcuts. I'm trying to introduce them to some culture. Urdu is their first language. I think there is, to be a good Indian, you don't have to be a mono, one unidimensional person. You can retain all your bits and pieces of identity and still be an Indian. So I'd want my children to be completely mainstream Indians. I'm a believer, and that's what Islam is. you surrender. You don't have questions. I don't think it's relevant कि आप 5 दफ़ा नमाज पढ़ते हैं, कितनी दफ़ा पढ़ते हैं और आप और चीज़ें क्या करते हैं. Once you have that belief in you, I think you are a Musliman for life.
For Rakshanda, it was that magical moment of being touched by her faith when she became a Muslim forever. She does not like to or have to wear her religion on her sleeve.
How can you look like a religion? You know? So we have stereotypes all around us, whether it's about religion, it's about a type, you know. And I think stereotypes are flat, they're unidimensional. And people are not flat, you know, people are a combination of so many things. And we do them an injustice when we say that you don't look like so-and-so, you don't behave like so-and-so.
See, I mean, I pray 5 times a day, so I know that I'm a true Muslim, and that's what matters to me. I mean, you know, Islam doesn't ask you not to play a sport.
I think as I'm a girl, I don't fight like, you know, I think, oh, I'm a girl, I should back off.
Yeah, we compete with one another.
In karting, once we had a race, me and my dad. We started off together, but the first corner I took him and I pushed him right into the barriers.
I was trying to block her where I knew that she is faster than me. I was trying to hold her where she squeezed into me and she pushed me into the tires.
Like whenever he tells me something, do this, do that, I get so irritated. Okay, I know, I tell him.
Certain things she take advantage of me. So I have to go into her level and be a friend and train her.
When she goes in for racing, I have butterflies in my stomach. But I'm very proud, like, she is racing. I mean, she's taken after her father's thing.
It was a very tough championship. It was do or die racing, it was. Like, we didn't know who was going to come first. And as soon as the flag was down, they saw the computer that it was, I came first, like. And I was really very happy in that.
I feel proud of her and myself. And I knew she can do it.
We knew that she is definitely going to win the championship because when she says something, she will do it. That's a confidence.
As soon as I came out, tears were in my eyes, and my mother hugged me so tightly, and my father carried me and told, this is the thing I wanted from you, and you proved it.
One look at Alisha and my poor Achanbi would have lost her wits. Times have changed. The entire younger generation now lives life on the fast track. Globalization has not just thrown open more avenues, but has also brought with it competition, expectations, and insecurities. The youngsters are compelled to perform, to prove, and this weighs heavy on their mind.
The whole feel of theatre, of the day of a show, or writing a play, or rehearsing is very exhilarating for me. Being my father's daughter, my father was an actor, late Amjad Khan. I'm very proud of being his daughter. But there's always that comparison. I always have to live up to his name.
And he just danced out. And the kid goes away, he picks up the mat.
I think there's definitely a lot of competition happening. And I don't think that's very necessary. I think there's enough work and there's enough space for everybody.
क्या? मैं तो बस बताने ही वाला था. क्या? अरे देखो यार कुछ खास बात नहीं है. ज़ेबा और शर्मिला के आने के बाद मैं अंदर बाथरूम चला गया बस. इसमें इतना मचलने की क्या बात है, हाँ?
यही कि तुम्हें बाथरूम से लौटने में 20 मिनट लग गए।
Damn, dog!
Elham's maturity belies her age. She knows when to pull out of the race, stop, and breathe easy. She also knows that static can be stagnant. She picks up her pace again, and for her, hurdles have nothing to do with religion.
I try as much as possible to keep out of the rat race. So unfortunately, as much as I'd not be for it, or as much as I'd not like the whole culture of this rat race and winning, I think at some level, I think all of us are influenced or touched by it.
Get your hands off my girl!
I don't get too much time for myself. I'm consciously trying to struggle to make time for things that I want to do, or things that are of any value to me on a personal level. For me, being nice to people, being helpful to people, being able to do something for somebody who needs it, I think that is what religion demands more of me. I feel very strongly about issues related to women. So the character of Reshma was a Muslim character. She was a strong woman, very upright, but also in a sense she was always on the periphery. So whenever the women would sit and sew the quilt, work on the quilt, Reshma would always sit a little away from them. I do identify to an extent with Reshma's character. I've seen women who are always either burqa clad or hijab clad. They'll always be sitting away. They'll never mix with non-burqa wearing women. Somehow they don't mix, or they're not they don't feel welcome enough. The person in hijab or burqa she might feel a little odd. So she does feel that the other person doesn't really understand her values or her reasons behind wearing that hijab, which is what, makes the other person also worry. So it works both ways.
My journey was still not complete. Not until I met a Muslim woman in a hijab and saw for myself if she was like my Achanbi. I wanted to be proven right in the hope that Achanbi was not a freak case. My quest took me to Mumbai's Muhammad Ali Road, a predominantly Muslim area. I didn't have to look for very long, as from the crowd emerged a face, that of Uzma Nahid. Uzma was somebody who had managed to enthuse a new jazba among the not-so-privileged lower middle-class Muslim women. A comfortable glimmer of hope settled in me.
औरत के जो राइट स्टेटस के ऊपर मैं बहुत बड़े बड़े उलमा से मेरी गुफ्तगू हुई, ख़ुद उन्होंने इस पर अफसोस का इज़हार किया कि औरत के पर्दे से मुताल्लिक़ तो बेशुमार किताबें हैं, बहुत लिखी गई, औरत की ज़िम्मेदारियों के मुताल्लिक़ बहुत कुछ लिखा गया, लेकिन औरत के हक़ के ऊपर जो है वो ना होने के बराबर लिटरेचर है.
Uzma has had many intellectual brushes with the noted ulemas of the country. As the daughter of the Vice-Chancellor of Darul Uloom, Deoband, she has a unique advantage. She's always in touch with the Islamic scholars in India. She uses this proximity to convince them to take a progressive view of Islam, based on the principles of justice as expressed in the Quran.
हिंदुस्तान में ख़ास तौर से चूँकि हमारे पास कोई इस्लामिक कोर्ट्स का निज़ाम नहीं है, जहाँ पर वो मर्द कि जो इस्लाम की किसी इजाज़त का, जो उसे स्पेशल कंडीशन में इजाज़त दी गई है, उसका गलत इस्तेमाल कर रहा है, तो अगर शरई कोर्ट होगी तो उसके लिए शरई सज़ा भी है. जैसे कि एक नशिश में 3 तलाक़ है, लेकिन अगर मासूम को तलाक़ दी तो उसके लिए हज़रत उमर रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु के दौर में 100 दुर्रे मारे गए, लैशेस, 100 लैशेस की सज़ा थी. आज वो लैशेस देने की आपके पास कोई सोर्स नहीं है. इसका मतलब है कि हमने वन साइडेड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन किया हुआ है इस्लामिक लॉ का.
Marriage in Islam is a contract, where both the man and the woman have equal rights to enter their conditions in the Nikahnama.
सलीम अहमद खान वलद वहाब अहमद खान से अपना निकाह कबूल है.
And only if both of them agree to these conditions does the marriage become legal. But this Islamic practice was misinterpreted to suit the male, wherein he got married without any strings attached. To reverse this practice, Uzma Nahid came forward to draft a model Nikahnama.
निकाह के वक्त, at the time of nikah, he should sign the contract. सबसे पहली चीज़ जो है वो हमने उसमें जो रखी है वो है मेहर से मुताल्लिक़, कि मेहर मुख्तलिफ़ अक़साम में होती है जिसमें औरत का प्रोटेक्शन बहुत अच्छी तरह से हो जाएगा.
Uzma Nahid is an empowered woman who has chosen to cover her head, a teacher of fashion designing. She does not view the veil as a dividing line. In fact, she enthuses her students to move with the changing times.
फैशन डिज़ाइनिंग एक आर्ट है कि अपने ड्रेस को आप किस तरह से खूबसूरत बनाएं. लेकिन जब हमारे पास मजहबी घरानों की बच्चियाँ आईं तो उन्हें हमने हिजाब डिज़ाइनिंग की तरफ माइल किया. दूसरी चीज़ जो है वो मैंने उनसे कहा कि अगर वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड आपको ट्रांसपेरेंट कपड़े पहनने की तरफ माइल करता है मॉडर्निज़म के नाम पर, तो आपके में ये कॉन्फिडेंस क्यों नहीं है कि जो चीज़ औरत की ब्यूटी है वो उसकी हया है, उस चीज़ को आप राइज करने के काबिल क्यों नहीं है, वो आपका कॉन्फिडेंस क्यों नहीं है. तो बात है सिर्फ शरीयत के जानने की और कॉन्फिडेंस की. कॉन्फिडेंस आता है शरीयत को जानने से. मैं उनसे ये कहती हूँ कि इस्लाम ने जिस्म के ऊपर पर्दा डालने को कहा है, अक़ल के ऊपर पर्दा डालने को नहीं कहा.
My journey is unending. I realize that Indian Muslim women, like women everywhere, are becoming educated, pursuing careers, striving to do what is best for their families, and contributing positively to society. How they dress and what language they speak is irrelevant. They are truly the most diverse lot. I feel that the critical element they need is freedom. Freedom to make choices that will enable them to be agents of positive change. तेरे माथे पे ये आंचल बहुत ही खूब है लेकिन तेरे माथे पे ये आंचल बहुत ही खूब है लेकिन तू इस आंचल से एक परचम बना लेती तो अच्छा था.